Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
5 years ago, the Power of We Symposium was created to provide a platform for kids from all sectors where they can have a safe and comfortable environment in which to share both their joys and concerns. The Power of We Symposium is proud to have served over 250 kids throughout Romania when we took our mission global back in May of 2023. Now, 2 teams of amazing volunteers from both the U.S. and Romania embarked on an 8-day Legacy of Hope tour, bringing encouragement and hope to not only the kids of Romania, but also the adults who support them, and also to over 100 kids here in the U.S. who contributed handwritten letters of hope to our Romania mission of 2023. Now, this year, we are proud to provide this opportunity yet again in October, and we are super excited to up our game. New venue, 750 kids this time, and we want to see you there. We're looking forward to meeting you in person at this year's event, which promises, as always, incredible speakers, amazing content, and of course, some of the greatest kids on the planet. So, mark your calendars for October 24th, and we'll see you here in Chicagoland for the Power of We Symposium 2024. This year's theme is Always Together, Never Alone. Tickets are available now on Eventbrite or at powerofwesymposium.com.
Don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
Okay. This new platform, oh my Lord. At 61, you don't need any help with senior moments. I keep trying to tell people that. Y'all can't be doing this stuff to old folks. Oh my Lord, I'm trying to be good and do what the networks ask, but I'm taking my ass straight back to StreamYard if they don't hurry up and fix this. No, seriously. I knew it. It's when you hit the third thing. Okay, so I had the commercial, then I had the power. What did I have? I had the E360, then I had the Power of We, And I'm so excited about the P.E.R.L.O.V.E. Let's go. Can we just talk about that for a minute? Forget what didn't go right. Let's talk about what is right. That's what I'm going to do. I just posted a meme yesterday. Don't spend time or energy trying to move things out of the way that aren't working. Focus your energy on what is working, and those things that aren't working for you, go move themselves. They're going to go. Bye, Felicia. So anyway, we're not going to talk about that thing that isn't working. P.E.R.L.O.V.E. Symposium. 750 kids this time, y'all. Oh my goodness. I can't. I'm losing my breath. What is that thing? My husband says, oh, I'm verklempt. I'm verklempt, right? How okay, you never get to say that. And here's another one you never get to say, or very rarely in your whole journey. Verklempt, and of all the unmitigated gall. I can't wait to use that one. So anyway, welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. Wave, get your stuff together, Wave Video, or I'm headed back to StreamYard. They'll work it out. They always do. Good morning. How are you guys? I'm out of Facebook jail. Back today for the first time in 30 days. And I didn't even do anything. So you wait, hacker. Let me find you. That's all I'm going to say. Some hacker put some kind of porn or something on. They didn't even ask me my side of the story. There was nothing. They just, next thing you know, I woke up, I was locked up. How'd I get in here? And then there was a Facebook warden or a guard standing there going, how indeed? Looking at me like I'm nasty or something. I didn't post it. So anyway, you know what? I'll be honest with you guys, and I want to hurt me get our guests in here. We got a big day for you. But I'll tell you something. I honestly did not miss Facebook. I'm just going to keep it real. It was like a breather. Like, oh, I don't have to worry about Facebook for a few days. So I'm just going to say, I might just stick with LinkedIn and YouTube and the other platforms, because Facebook, something odd is happening over there. Tell me what you think. Hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being freaking-tastic, how you feeling today? Put it in the comments. I want to see a lot of 10s, because even if it's not a 10, I bet you by the end of this hour it will be. How do I know? First of all, because that's what happens when we come together. We fulfill that promise that guarantees us. We're 2 or more. We got the heart set, the mindset. We're just about easing suffering in the world, right? When we come together, the spigot opens, right? Seriously, and outpours blessing, because that is just what happens. That's called spiritual magic. Can I get an amen? All right, there's the Bell of Purpose. Also here every day, 8 years running. Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. She's my version of Ed McMahon, my little sidekick. Hey, girl, my ride or die. Like you never drop coffee out of your mouth? Judge much? So anyway, and today's cereal time, Raisin Brands, and no, it is not nasty. Raisin Bran with some bananas on it. Who is here? Holly McNEILL. Now get ready, get yourself something to write with, get comfortable, share this out to one person. If you have a pact with someone, girl, we're going to get it done this year, or I'm calling him a dog, we're going to make it happen this year. Now's the time to do it. Holly is known as the Mindfulness Architect, and she is the creator of the transformational P.E.R.L.O.V.E. I wish I could I'm going to show you on the screen later because you need to see it as well as hear it. Mindfulness practices. So why is this so important to me? Right around September of last year, I had a download that instructed me, Lauren, moving forward for the rest of this season, meaning 2023, and until further notice, your mantra, your motto is raise your temple. And I was like, and I saw like Amish people raising a barn. So I knew it wasn't like raise a child. It was like build something, take it higher. And mindfulness is where it began. I actually found myself a little mindfulness coach just for 3 or 4 indoctrinating sessions to baptize me into the idea and mindset of true mindfulness. I had no idea how much I was skimming off the top. And then you guys know about a month ago, I went to Boston to spend time with Mr. Chopra, right? His wife, thank you so much. taught my friend Mark and I transcendental meditation again in this mindfulness thing. So mindfulness practices has been given to me as something I need to up my game on. And so we've got one of the best in here today. So here she comes. Put your hearts on the screen, get your questions ready, be interactive. This is something you're going to really want to wrap your mind around. Get it? Mind, no pun intended, as you move into 2024. This, you all, is the year of abundance. If you are ready for it, it is ready for you. I've seen it. I've seen it. It's coming. It's right over that ridge right there. I'm looking at it as we speak. So get ready, because here she comes, Miss Holly McNEILL. Is my thing going to work today? My little... Oh, let's see what I'm saying. How come you're not on the screen? It won't let me let her in. Hold on.
There we go.
See
We
what I'm
made
saying?
it.
You know what? Hold on. Shall we bow our heads for a word of silent prayer? Okay. All I said was, Lord, don't let me ever find out where the people at WAVE live, because I'll be right. I mean, now, excuse me. Can I see the owner of WAVE? Could you come
Knock,
outside,
knock.
please?
In your purple bathrobe. We're both wearing purple today.
I know. You know that's there's something about this color for me.
There is. It's very
Yes.
spiritual. Mm-hmm.
I'm around. That round of applause is for your work.
Thank
It
you.
really is. It really is. Listen, I don't really care for what are those things called? Let me read your bio.
Right.
Thought I had a senior moment, didn't you? Bios, I know it was a junior moment. So I'd like to give the guest a moment. I'm gonna jump over here, come out, and let you just like create your own vibe, and then I'll pop back in. We'll get started.
Okay.
Okay, so just say what's on your heart. Here you go, all you.
Good morning. I'm so grateful, very, very grateful to be here. I am actually an architect, and by age 26, I was as an intern, I was put in charge of the largest historic preservation project in my state. I had, kids on the way, building a new house, beautiful husband. You know what? This girl had it going on, right? Or did I? Right? When you take a closer look, at age 34, the perfect world I created to hide my perceived unlovability, high anxiety, and low self-worth crumbled. And from that moment, I made a vow to do better and spent 20 years in tandem as a single mother and my career searching across the country and coast to coast for better. I read books, listened to teachings, whatever I could find. And the most amazing thing that happened was that from millennial old wisdom to modern day teachings, everything seemed to point back to a few simple truths, which I then created from the P.E.R.L.O.V.E formula, a set of mindfulness meditation practices that can take you from that small, isolated, stuck and scared where I was to as far, literally as far as you want to go. We have limitless potential. So thank you, Dr. Lauren, so much
Of course.
for having me here today.
Of course. And thank you for coming. Let's get right to it. So the first thing I know I want to get out there is because it was my biggest fear when I landed in Boston. I'm sitting in there. This woman has taught this meditation to all kinds of celebrities and things. And my biggest fear, Holly, was what if it doesn't work on me? I was like, because I have ADHD, and I was like, oh my God, my mind is like click, 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 click.
Yep.
I'm like, what if I can't settle it down? So that person, and also the person who may not see any value around in their waking world. I'm talking to that person that could be watching us from a hotel room, not knowing where their next meal is going to come from. When
Right.
noon comes today and they say get out or re-up, am I going to be on the street or what? I really want to bring that up because I remember when I was that person, I was praying for some magical, mystical moment to just pop up on my feed like this to give me some sense of hope. So I want you to go. Can you start there for us and talk about who is mindfulness for? and how readily available is it truly?
Absolutely, absolutely. And there is one requirement, okay? You have to be
Oh, got it.
a human being.
Oh, I
The
got it. I can do
Woo!
that.
Yes, yeah, I think most of us can, since we're here today, since you're listening. And the one common denominator we all have as human beings is the capacity to think. Right.
Mm,
And
mm,
so and understanding that our thinking creates our world, it's in becoming mindful of that thinking, which we can all do, that that starts to change things for us. And yeah, anyone, absolutely anyone at any time. I was 34 and I was so stuck. I thought I woke up with anxiety and shame every single day from trauma as a child, and I actually didn't know how to get how to get to better. And the great thing about our mind and how it works is you don't have to know how to do it. You just have to believe it's possible. Right?
okay. Can we put a face on that feeling, that place when you said, I used to wake up
Mm-hmm.
every day? Because we hear people say that in their victory stories, in their joy reports. But
Yep.
again, when you're that person sitting what you in the place you just described, you think, yeah, she said it, but she has no idea what it really feels like. Look at me. So I want to say this. What, when you opened your eyes every day, when you said this was what was going on, when it was your reality, what was the first thing you thought of? Oh my God, am I still alive? Or I'm not even getting out of this damn bed. What, tell us what it really, can you baptize us a little bit in it?
Yeah. What happens though is you think that is normal. You identify with it. So this is how life is. This is normal. This anxiety, this shame, this is how everyone feels, right? So you don't know if you're in it, it's hard to know that there's better, right? So I hit a really low point. Here's an image, crying on the toilet in the middle of the night, right?
Okay,
Asking for
there
a
it
second
is.
chance. There it is. I mean, I had made some poor choices and I was afraid I had done some things that were irreparable, and I was praying to God, life, Buddha, anyone. I was so terrified.
That's what I did.
Right?
Whatever
Yeah.
would listen. Please hear me.
Yep.
Something. If
Yep.
you're real.
Help me. Yep. I'll change. Give me another chance, and I'll do better.
Mm,
And I didn't know how to do better, Lauren, but I put that. I vowed, and I kept that vow, and life showed me the way. And
see?
that's really how powerful the mind is.
Absolutely right. Well, there's a promise that says when we seek, we shall
Yeah.
find. And the thing
Right.
I love about it is I guarantee you, when you divulge what it was that scooped you up off that commode in the middle of the
Mm-hmm.
night and changed you, and I mean literally and figuratively, I guarantee you if we were to turn it into a symbol or a phrase, we're going to find ourselves staring directly at what people refer to as, and here it comes, low hanging fruit. Why do I say that? Because it's always a low hanging fruit, things that like you and I do, like why you're here today, is
Mm-hmm.
that thing that when a person feels there's nothing left in the tank, I can't
Mm,
even open my eyes, let alone get up. But all of a
mhm.
sudden, they smell that low hanging fruit. The aroma of hope is in the air. And
That's
that
right.
is what I'm talking about. And
Right.
that is the thing that, I don't want us to rush through the intersection and not let somebody see what it looks like. So, talk about that. Do you remember? I know you do, that concise moment
Yep.
when it shifted. What did it
Mhm.
feel like? What did it sound like? Because I know you'll never forget it. Talk about that, would you,
I was actually on a business trip across the state, and I walked into a Barnes and Noble, and there on the new arrivals table, this is gonna make me cry, is a book by
Oh,
Cheryl Richardson called Stand Up for Your Life, right? And I picked up that book and I opened it, and in the introduction, it said, when you make this journey, when you put it out there, you know, this will rock your world. Watch, you know, not be careful what you ask for, but when you ask for this, the universe will respond. You'll be sent the right people, events, and situations to help you along your way. And it was so true. I would have a question, and the next thing I read was the answer, right? You don't have to know how to get there. You just have to. have to open up to it and react and be there for when it shows up. Just be present for when it shows up. It was amazing.
Have you ever been told, I know you have, you've heard this, I got to get it out because I see it and I get so excited when I get to say this out loud to someone. You do realize you're anointed, right?
I realized that I have, in my early 40s, I realized I had something to say.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm spending the rest of my life, yes, thank you, getting out what I can.
It's
So yeah.
true. I can see it. I can feel it. I see it. Good morning, Charles Maddox. Charles
Good morning,
Maddox.
Carol.
The celebrity chef. He's actually from the Marley family.
Nice.
Remember
Good
Bob
morning, Charles.
Marley? Yeah, that's his
Yes, yes,
nephew.
of course.
Hi, Charles. I miss your face. Andrea, how are you? Hi, Elizabeth. See you on your session next hour. Now, listen. So, Holly, this is another thing why I want you to talk more about your origin story, how you came from where you were and transformed into who you are. Because oftentimes, we hear little cliche things like, turn your mess into your message and this, but when you're in the middle of the mess, you're like, there's no damn message in this. How in the world is this ever going to shape up into any this big dinosaur turd? How is it going to look like a diamond one day? Tell me how. So
right.
That's why I love what you do. So let's get to it. When people come to you or they find themselves at your website or in one of your sessions, what is the biggest void that you find that the most common void that they drag in with them? The emptiness. What is it? What are they looking for?
The biggest thing is that people don't understand how the mind works. They don't realize that they're on automatic pilot, and that without awareness, that they're reinforcing their negative patterns and defaults. And this isn't spirituality, it isn't Buddhism, it's just how the mind works.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I explain this to them, if you sign up for my newsletter, there's a free class that goes through each one of the practices.
Lots
They
of
get it.
value, this one. I'm just letting
Yeah.
them know. Lots of
Thank
free
you.
value. That's one
Yeah.
thing. That's another litmus test when someone is living their teachings. There's a lot. They're not just trying to sell you something. First, they're trying to tell you something. So just
Right.
listen up. Okay.
Right.
Sorry, Holly. I got to get that out there.
Right.
So keep
Right.
going.
So
keep
yeah.
going.
So what I tell people when I explain to them how the mind works and how when we grow our awareness, we can actually start to separate ourselves from our thoughts, emotions, and feelings, recognize them, and create change. They understand it's my job as an architect was I did large hospital projects nationally and internationally. I worked for Stanford. I worked in Mecca, Saudi Arabia, and I had to take many pieces and put them together in a set of drawings that someone could understand, right? And so that's what P.E.R.L.O.V.E is. It's a bunch of, I set out in neuroscience. I studied neuroscience, psychology, spirituality, and Buddhism, and I put together these pieces in this formula that really gives you a step-by-step, and it starts by growing your awareness. And the biggest thing people don't realize is that they are not their thoughts, emotions, and feelings, which cause their habits and patterns, right? But without awareness, that's happening automatically, and they have the power to change it. And it's an amazingly, incredibly amazing, glorious journey that
Yes.
anyone can be on. And earlier you were saying, when people are so stuck, and then they come across, your broadcast right here, right? They might trip upon it. They might be a big fan of yours, and here they are today listening.
Fan? Did you say fan?
Yes. Is that?
I love you too. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. That's that ADHD. I warned you. Go ahead.
It's all good. It's all good. But it's here that that's the power of their mind. If they plant a seed and they just believe, you can be as stuck and lost and have no idea how to get out there, but just believe that there is a way.
There is.
And the way will show up.
And the way will show up. Absolutely right. Now, you guys, just so you know, when I was just telling me distracted a minute ago, I was digging underneath the glass top of my desk because I have something slid under there, this piece of paper. Because listen to this. When Holly said, growing your awareness, and then she said, plant the seed. Absolutely right. Now here, This is what I love. I love, 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 love this. Why do I have this? Right? Because I remind
Oh,
myself, right? Because see, for me, I had to understand it's not that I can't do this and calm my mind and find that place and shoo those thoughts away just to be quiet.
mhm.
Source showed me what my goal was, is like my vessel is like a wooden bowl that you drop a marble in, and if in my mind, it's always going like this, and I just gotta wait for the marble to settle in that. That's why Christians say it sets well, it sets with my soul. It's
Mm,
well with my soul. So what I'm saying is the work that you're going to work with us on today and talk about is stuff that we do beneath the soil, that
that's
we
right.
all the stuff that we do underneath that people don't see. You
That's right.
see?
Oh, that's right.
Okay, and above the soil is the us that we bring to the world. So I just wanted to bring that out to show I'm trying my best, and little things like this, I keep them in reach. Like some of the stuff your notes are going to have, some of the things you hear, write them down. You see here, write them down so you can have all of this goodness, these nougats within reach. Don't just
That's
throw
right.
them in a proverbial junk drawer. Go ahead. Now take us back down in that soil.
It's all about what you can see, right? One of my teachings talks about that we live in one of two camps, right? One is the enmeshment camp, when we're enmeshed in all our thoughts, emotions, and feelings, and we can't see our way out. And
Like
one is
tangled in vines.
yeah, yeah. I mean, our
Mm,
brain, when
mm.
you think something over and over and over and over again, and you're not 95% of all our thoughts go on below our level of awareness, right? Below our in our subconscious, right? Our brain takes in 11 million bits of information every second, but our conscious mind can only process 40 or 50 of those bits. So modern science tells us that 95% of all our habit creation, all our patterns, all our personality that we identify with, all our defaults happen without us even knowing it, if you can believe that.
I do believe that. Now, you keep saying thoughts. Now, what about this one? I know you hear this a lot. When I was first starting the practices,
Mhm.
I could not, it was hard for me to ascertain I didn't know that my thoughts, they sound like me talking to me.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do. So,
So
yep.
that's the thing where you're like, am I supposed to be hearing this or is I not
Mhm.
supposed, that we're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and
Right. Well,
forth.
yep. The
Help.
first thing we want to do is to become the observer, right? We want to become the observer of our thoughts. We are not our thoughts, emotions, and feelings. So we want to start to learn how to pay attention to those thoughts. And so that's the first P in P.E.R.L.O.V.E is pledge 1 minute, 6 times a day to make a habit of watching your mind. So habits, the subconscious mind is very habit based. It's like a biocomputer, and it doesn't discriminate between bad and good. So we just need to take a look under the hood, what's going on there, right?
Uh-huh.
So I talk to people about imagine it as a thoughts, emotions, and feelings highway, right? With all the horns honking and confusion and all the multiplex of images and smells. You want to be sitting on your easy chair next to the highway, watching it all go by.
Mm.
And then you have that capacity to do that, right? So if you, any habit, one of the biggest things I tell people is if you want to learn something new, if you want to change anything, you must practice it over and over and over again, right? So if
Yep.
you do this, if you, for 1 minute, 6 times a day, take a deep breath, imagine yourself in that easy chair, and you're just watching the chaos, right? You don't have to change anything right away. You don't have to judge it. Actually, the definition of mindfulness is something people don't really even know what the definition is. And according to John Kabat-Zinn, it's moment to moment, non-judgmental awareness. With curiosity, we're non-judgmental about what's coming up. We're just wanting to become aware of it. So if we do this for 1 minute, 6 times a day, you just sit in your easy chair, and sometimes, you know what, you're going to jump in one of those thoughts and it's going to take you down the highway. You just find yourself, go back in the easy chair, and 1 minute, 6 times a day, you watch it. You start to create that understanding habit in your mind that you are separate from those, right?
Yeah,
And you do that 1 minute, 6 times a day, and it will start to happen automatically. It's just what I have.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what Sanjeev Chopra was telling me about the meditation. Just keep doing it, keep practicing it, because
Mhm.
okay, like let's use the analogy of the sitting in the chair. I would be 1 second I'm sitting in the chair, next thing you know, I'm on a surfboard thought. I'm
Right,
surfing, the big kahuna,
right.
I'm like, oh my
Or
God, I'm supposed to be in the easy chair going, and here I am surfing more
right,
thoughts. So
right.
okay, give us some tips on some beginners tips on how to get started. Is it music we need to calm us? Should we go sit by a fire or some water or
Just
go in a closet? What should we do?
just be curious, right? All you really need to do is to be curious, right? It can think of it like this amazing opportunity, right? The inside of the mind, if we all think it's very logical and it's very like, oh, I think this and I think this and I think this, but it's really like flashing, like a multiplex of images and and thoughts and so just be curious, right? Wouldn't you want to know? Wouldn't you want to know what's going on? What is it that I'm doing that's creating these negative patterns and habits in my life? And not only that, the brain will actually recreate. If you have a negative habit or pattern, it
Yeah.
will create situations in your life to reinforce those, right? So wouldn't you want to know? And the nice thing is when it's only 1 minute a day, I know people get bogged down with meditating for a long time. But if you dedicate 1 minute 6 times a day, just sit there and be curious. And you know what? You're gonna get taken down that highway many times.
Many
But
times.
but the definition of meditation, right? So Gom in Tibetan means to become familiar with, right? We're not pushing stuff away. We're not trying to change the world overnight. We are just trying to become familiar with who we are, with what we're creating. And so if you have that, if you want to find change, if you want to find your way out, sit in that chair for 1 minute 6 times a day and just start to pay attention. That's the
Is
first step.
is this the same thing, Holly? Um, the mindfulness seeking and sitting there 6 times a day. Is this the same thing as grounding? When people say,
Ah,
"I get up in the morning and I ground," I start by ground. See what I'm saying? There's all these
yeah,
different little
yeah,
things that people do, practices,
that's right. Yeah.
but aren't we all seeking pretty much the same thing through
Absolutely. And that's what I loved about my journey is that when Buddhism, even I'm at a Buddhist retreat in the mountains of Arizona right now.
like, right now,
You
literally.
can see the pine trees, right? Here they are. Woo!
Yes.
And even Buddhism, they're talking about the same thing. There's so many paths because the mind is constantly trying to get you back to your true nature, which is peaceful and wise. There is a lot of things pointing back to the same truths, and it is amazing. It is amazing. That was the biggest, oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me, that I
Yes.
came across on my journey. Yep. Everything
That
points back to this. Learn to pay attention, grow your awareness. And with that awareness, right, we can then start to, evaluate what's going on and then recognize it as it comes up, right?
absolutely. Now,
It's
I wanna
amazing.
share something. I'm gonna pop it up on the screen. This is from your website, and it's a 3.5-minute video. I've looked
Yep.
at it. I'd like to share that with everybody. Is that okay?
Sure.
Can you set up what we're about to look at for me, please?
So this is just a very quick introduction to P.E.R.L.O.V.E and why you might want to be interested in it.
Okay.
Did you know that each of us has between 6,000 and 70,000 thoughts a day? They show up in the form of emotions and feelings. 80% of these thoughts are negative and 95% repeat. And although most negative self-talk is misguided and destructive, we tend to accept it as truth and with it, create our lives. See the problem? Hi, I'm Holly McNEILL, and from the collective wisdom of many teachings, I've come up with a solution to this issue presented in a free online introductory class called The Lost Formula to Happiness. Briefly, let me tell you how this goes down. From birth, we're ambushed by our negative and repetitious thoughts, emotions, and feelings. I call this our TEF. Think of it like taffy, sticky and sweet, only this is teffy, sticky and deceiving, easy to get stuck in. We keep our painful stories alive, attached to them, and suffer because of our enmeshment in this TEF. From it comes our ego, our false identity. Now, this false identity is the happiness thief. Because no matter how twisted our stories are or how miserable they make us, this bandit whispers to us every day to protect our negative TEF at all costs. Happiness is lost in this unaware and automated training of the mind, as often we don't have a clue that this happiness thief is actually in control. But all is not lost. Over the years, I've come to realize a few simple truths. We are not our thoughts, emotions, or feelings. We're not our TEF. We are so much more than that. Thoughts alone are actually powerless, so if we don't engage in our negative TEF, the happiness thief simply falls apart. We can unmask this thief and unravel our stories using a straightforward set of mindfulness and meditation practices I call P.E.R.L.O.V.E, and it starts with just 6 minutes a day. First, we train the mind. We pledge 1 minute 6 times a day to watch our minds until it becomes habit. Then we evaluate our negative TEF and finally recognize these painful patterns in our daily lives, seeing the happiness thief for the imposter that it is. These 3 simple practices create the P, E, and R in the P.E.R.L.O.V.E formula and form the basis for our mental transformation. Then we train the heart. We locate the space that remains when the TEF is removed, open our hearts, vest in what we find there, and expand beyond our conditioned limits. In love, we uncover the most genuine part of ourselves, our true nature. Finding happiness doesn't take a lot of your time. It's not hard or complicated. All it needs is your attention. Find out how you can unravel your happiness thief by joining me and others. Check out our free online intro class, subscribe to our newsletter, or dive into a P.E.R.L.O.V.E practice forum. You're not alone in your quest to find happiness, and it's totally doable. We can do it together. Thank you.
Oh my God, that's that. Never alone. We can do this together. That's our theme for the Power of We this year.
Oh, I'm excited to hear more about that. I would love to hear. That sounds amazing.
750 kids. I'm so
That
excited.
sounds wonderful. And thank you so much for playing that video. I was sitting here just feeling so grateful, to see that on your amazing show here and so that people can see it. So thank you.
And let me tell you what I loved about that. Like when I watched it, which drove me, I was compelled, I guess I should say, to share that with the audience because that was when I really knew you were anointed. I was watching and it just your description of it makes it sound and feel so readily accessible. Like it's right there. And I'm gonna tell you the piece that really got me was I've never, or if I did, I don't remember, or it's rare that people say, now let's go to the heart. We refer to the heart and matters of the heart, but never something that works directly or claims to with the heart itself. Talk about that. That's huge.
Did you know that the true nature of the mind is in the heart? The root mind in Buddhism is in the heart. And actually, up until some of the Eastern ancient languages, the word for heart and mind were the same word.
The same word.
That's right. It was only 400 years ago in Europe when they started to elevate the mind over the heart, right? The heart is very, very powerful. And when we unravel this neural net of patterns and defaults that we've created, we find that there's no bandit there. There's no ego, right? What we find is this amazing space, right? We're growing our awareness from, and when we start to recognize these thoughts and disengage with them, instead of it's thought, it's thought. And there's space in between, right? And that's where you drop into your heart with that space, open it up, and
Okay.
Wow.
I hope I don't stump you on this one.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
do wait, 1 billion quadrillion, or do I secretly hope that I do stump you?
Well, we'll see.
Okay,
Everything, it's all good.
so here we go. Wherein it pertains to the heart that you're describing, that
Hmm.
place, right?
Hmm.
Would you say that do you feel that feelings and emotions are one and the same, or are they different?
I can tell you exactly what they are.
Good one, right?
It is actually, you know what, Lauren, that is a wonderful question. And I had been teaching these practices for about 6 months, and
Uh-huh.
somebody asked me that question, and I was like, I don't know. So the brain, right? We have all these thoughts, and there's this hypothalamus in our brain that has corresponding peptides. It sends these peptides down into our body, and our cells have receptors, and we receive them. So emotions are the physical responses we feel in our bodies. And the more
Uh-huh.
we think of anxiety, right, the more that when those cells split, they have more receptors, right? So we're basically infusing every cell in our body with whatever we think about, right? So if it's shame or guilt or anger, right? And then, so that's our emotions, right? That's the feeling. And so when a thought triggers that emotion, every cell in your body, so the emotion, is the physical response, right? In the body. And when a thought triggers that emotion, every cell in your body screams back to your mind in the form of a feeling, right? So it's circular, right? Thoughts cause emotions, which then thinks that sends back up to your brain for more thoughts, right? Reinforcing it, more chemicals, more
Yeah.
reaction over and over and over. It's like being on a wheel. If you don't stop that, that's why as people age, they get more of something, right? Because they're totally infused emotionally in their body, and every time a thought triggers it, their body just seizes the moment to, it's like an addiction, right? We want more of this, right?
Yeah.
And
More
so
exactly.
that's why I call it our TEF, our thoughts, emotions, and feelings. Now, it's not our thoughts, emotions, and feelings aren't all bad. And one of the ways that we learn to evaluate we've got all these thoughts going on, and you can't possibly monitor all of them. One of the ways we learn to evaluate what we're thinking about more is how we're feeling, right? You can use your feelings as an internal barometer just to tell you what's going on, right? What
Yeah.
you need to look at, you know?
Exactly right. Now I'm gonna say this. So, I am a firm believer because of the work I do. I know the power of imagery.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, and I know the downloads I get when the source and God and the spirit and whatever I call it, everything greater than me, shows me
Nice.
something. It's because that's why we go, oh, I can see that,
Yeah.
or yeah, you cannot unsee what you've seen, all of it. Take your pick. So what I'm
Right.
getting at is this, you guys. What I love about mindfulness is the purposeful words work in both directions, like meaningful. If you mean it, if you say what you mean and mean what you say, work in both directions. So
Mm-hmm.
if it's meaningful, it is full of meaning, and I'm giving
Yeah.
it to the world. So mindfulness, I now work, since this is new work for me, raising my tempo. That was the instructions I got.
Very
So
good.
I picture this work of mindfulness for myself. I had to find something that worked so I could continue to practice it. So I see it every day as I start every day with an empty grocery cart. So just like
Mm-hmm.
when I go to the grocery store, I stay on the perimeter. I try to, because that's the living food. What I fill my cart with is what I unpack from my grocery bag when I get home. So I think
Mm-hmm.
about that with mindfulness. What am I putting in my grocery cart that I
Right.
need to put on the shelf or in the pantry or in the freezer or in the fridge when I get home? So it
That's right.
works in here and in here, because now, as long as I stick to the list when I'm
Yep.
shopping, because
Mm-hmm.
I've gone in the store, the real store, the literal store, with 2 things on the list and come out with 80
That's right.
things I didn't need. So I'm practicing it like that. So
Uh,
talk about how you help people get to that crazy place, crazy, wonderful place I just described for me.
Yeah, that's a lovely analogy. That's a lovely way to do it. So E is
Thank you.
evaluate, right? There's a poem by Robert Blythe who just recently passed away, an activist and writer, that John Kabat-Zinn very eloquently kind of transcribes this poem, because it's hard to even find, but it's called "The Long Black Bag We Drag Behind Us." Right? Yeah.
Ooh.
So when we're children and we don't like parts of ourselves, or good girls don't do that, good boys don't behave that way, we tend to shove parts of ourselves away. And as we grow older, and we see that things that we don't like, or we think, oh, I don't want to show that. We shove these parts of ourselves in this bag. And though this bag is long and heavy, we often forget what we've put in there in the first place.
Yeah.
Yet the happiness thief never forgets, right? It's all those parts of us that we don't want to look at ourselves or show others.
Yeah.
But we're
Yeah.
living from those. We're creating from those shameful, and most of this is all misguided, right? Almost all of it is misguided, but we're living from those. We're reinforcing those thoughts, emotions, and feelings every day. We think this is who we are. This is our identity, right? So in evaluate, we just peek in the bag, right? We peek in the bag at first, and we pick a few targets for change, right? A few
Right.
things, like you said, put them on your list that you can identify through your watching your thoughts. Or if you have a feeling that comes up, a negative feeling, what are the thoughts associated with them, right? You just pick one or two of those things, right? Put them on your
Yes.
list.
Yes.
That's right.
She's absolutely right, you guys. For instance, big one for me.
Mm-hmm.
To get out of my own way, because I was a master of self-destruction, self-sabotage. And if most of us are honest about, if we point to the things in our past that, why did this go left? Why did this go south? When we are completely honest with ourselves, in most cases, we point to ourselves and go, I am responsible. And
Right.
that is the hardest part of all, is to see but you need to see that and own it in order to do better. So
Right.
that is why, yes. So here's the thing, that grocery cart that I spoke about every
Mm-hmm.
day, this mindfulness, the first thing that I look for when I head down the aisle to put
Mm-hmm.
something in the empty cart is I look for an E and an R, and I look for an I, an N, and a G. 5 letters is all you need. You said it at the beginning. We're human beings, which means we're not human dones. We're not
That's
human
right.
finished. We're human beings because we're in
Yes,
the process of.
that's
That's what
right.
ing means.
That's right. That's right.
I can't talk right now. I'm sleeping. Oh, I can't make it tomorrow. I'm working. That
Right.
sort of thing. So
Mm-hmm. You're
you're doing
being.
this. You're
Mm-hmm.
here right now because we are human beings. Now,
You're
the
being.
and then I'm going to shut up. The ER is a biggie because it's a 2-for-1er.
Right.
If you look for an E and an R, it means that you already know when you wake up, when you find this, when you get into your mindfulness and you settle down, you go, oh yeah, there I am. There it is. There's everything. There's your gratitude, right? Which is one of the things I find helps me get to that quiet place and helps me get back to my regular world. It's a bridge, is gratitude, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at these things, all I got to say is this. It helps me understand that I wake up strong. Now I just get an E and an R, put it in my grocery cart. So by tonight when I go to bed, I will be stronger, brighter, nicer.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
let's talk about this. When you run into people and you see that deer in the headlights look when they talk about mindfulness,
Right.
what is it that feels frustrating to a person like you, Holly, who is anointed and gifted with helping people in this lane, but you see that we make it so much more difficult than it needs to be?
One of the things I've learned kind of the hard way is that you have to want to change, right? If a person can be a deer in headlights, but if they're open to change, that's one thing. If they're not, if somebody doesn't want to change, they won't see it. You believe and you create whatever you think. So if you think this world a negative, horrible, terrible place, and that you've had all this, you're the victim, and all of this is terrible, and that you have no control over it, then that is what is true for you. Right?
Uh-huh.
But anyone, I know people, I know both kinds of people, right? Those people that it's like talking to a wall, and I know those people that are hurting, right, but want to find a way. And
Absolutely
you can
right.
see that. You can see that difference, you know.
When people come to you just in your everyday world as a legitimate architect, you create and you get a new project, the first thing I think you would have to do is to come up with blueprints, right or
Yep,
wrong,
yep, the
right?
program, right, right,
Right. So do
right.
you help us when we come to you looking for the mindfulness architect? Tell us about these blueprints or these what did you just call the other thing? You said a
The
program.
program, right. Yeah,
Okay. Talk about
well,
that. How different
it
is it for each person?
it's so interesting, and that's what I was talking about. This ability to think is the common denominator. We each have our own personal thought system that we've developed mostly without our awareness. And with that personal thought system, we've created these laws of transformation. So any new thought that comes up is judged through that lens, and it's manipulated and it's changed and often rejected if it doesn't meet our "you're stupid" or this isn't going to work. Those laws of transformation, right? So, but the solution is always the same way, right? Grow your awareness, right?
Grow.
Grow your awareness. Yeah, we have our mind is limitless, right? We're living in this teeny little enmeshment of our brain, but our mind at our heart center is limitless, which means that we are limitless. And when we create
Mm.
enough space between those thoughts, emotions, and feelings, we can actually choose what we want to create, right? And and so that process is always the same, which is again what was so amazing when I saw it in modality after modality. Always the same, always the same,
Always the
and
same.
doable. Yeah. And one of
Very,
the
very much doable.
yeah, I mean, you talked about having gratitude in the morning. One of the ways to help bring your kind of negative patterns out of hiding is to act in ways contrary to those.
Oh, to smoke them out, flush
That's
them
right.
out.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
You act with, have gratitude for everything you
That's
have,
right.
compassion, you practice this, make it a habit. And your brain's like, wait a minute, this does not match our programming. What are you doing? Blah, blah, and it starts to reveal itself.
It
So
certainly
even in
does.
creating a new habit of joy or, pick one and do, practice it and it will start to show you what you'll feel resistance. You will. One of the things I tell people is
It will.
please don't get discouraged because your brain will resist, right? It's got a
Yes,
program.
and it won't feel good. It
That's
won't
right.
feel good. It'll be uncomfortable momentarily, but
That's right.
remind yourself before you even begin. They're called growing pains,
That's
not
right.
growing tickles. So
That's
that's
right.
when you should get encouraged. Just like,
That's right.
question marks. I used to be afraid, Holly, to step across the threshold of a new experience and or opportunity because I had groomed myself. That voice, that liar, that dictator had whispered, don't
What
go in
happened to
there.
you?
It's going to
That's
eat
right.
you up. That's
That's
not for
right.
people like you. You're not
That
strong enough to go in there,
you will
right?
hear that.
But
Yes.
now I know before I look in and I'm looking specifically for a question mark because I
Right.
know if I see a question mark, that means that God is in it, that something greater than me is in it. And it's
Right.
to keep me from ego tripping.
Well,
See, that's why it's called ego tripping.
that's
You're
right.
going
Your
to trip
brain.
over that threshold instead of step over it with purpose. You're going to trip into it. Now, when something good happens to you in there, if you tripped in, you're going to think it's an accident because I accidentally ended up in here because
That's
I
right. You're right. Your
ego tripped.
brain will trick you into thinking that, oh, that's not really what usually happens.
Exactly.
You are absolutely right. And that absolutely happens, which is why people give up so easily, right? So that is a very, very important thing to note. Thank you for pointing that out, that you
Very
need to
important.
know that you will absolutely, because you think about it, for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you've been programming your mind in one way. And now all of a sudden you're trying to it's like trying to, turn an ocean liner, right? It takes time.
On a
And then
dime.
you, that's
Right.
right. That's right.
You know,
Absolutely.
but
And
if
you
we
have to be,
remember the clues, the things that are already out there, and remember from our own experience, yeah, this too shall pass. Oh, yeah, I've lived through something like this
right,
before and became
right,
stronger. That's the thing about the double dip of the double payback from Ian and R. Because when you realize you are stronger and you got back up, you now have renewed your own belief in yourself. You have revived everything you need to get up and go another day. You have remembered yourself to who you truly are. And
that's right.
that's when magic is at its best.
That's right. And just remember that, that your mind is limitless. And so putting up with a little bit of negative feelings, right, for a short period of time is okay. If, like you said, you look at it as, what is it showing me? What can I see from this, right? What can I disengage with? When we look in our black bags or in our grocery list, we have to be willing to be a little vulnerable, right? And take accountability for what we find, because ultimately we did create this.
Yep.
Aware or unaware, we did, right? But we can change it. And you're right. Once you start to learn from those things and grow from those things, you get these insights in the space between your thoughts, emotions, and feelings. The wisdom comes through. The wisdom, that's right. That wisdom, that connection to universal life, to everything greater.
Everything you're looking for, to be honest.
Right.
It's all there and it's all available. Listen, this was so fast. It just flew by.
It did.
Great times. Listen, on the screen, you guys, there are 2 different roads to all things Holly McNEILL. Up top, Facebook, P.E.R.L.O.V.E
Formula.
Holly McNEILL. Okay. And then P.E.R.L.O.V.E formula.com downstairs. And I'm going to take some time and drop both of these inside the comment section immediately following the broadcast, which unfortunately is now. So, Holly, thank you so much for being here and for being who you are. We love you for it. And I love you guys out there. I'll see you tomorrow, God willing, out on the front porch. We're together. We'll have another illuminated conversation. Get out today and find your highest self. And remember, I love, love, love you. And as always, there's not a damn thing you can do about it. I'll see you tomorrow. Great job, Holly. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you give